Hello guys, good day, welcome to my channel. My name is Maurilio, thank you very much for being here. This is the very first video that I'm publishing to this channel, so I'm very happy for it. This channel will be dedicated to be publishing videos about mathematical topics, different topics from the basics up to more advanced ones. I will divide the different videos in chapters, starting from the basics, as I said, up to more advanced ones. Of course, also my intention is to help you guys if you have any topic that you would like to discuss because of you want to learn it or because you are struggling within the school. Just let me know, write in the comments, and I will try to make a time to publish something about it. Of course, different examples, introduction to the topic, and stuff like that. So the first topic that I would like to touch here is introduction to algebraic function. But first of all, what is an algebraic function? This is very important. This topic is simple, but at the same time it's very powerful because algebraic functions help us to model different scenarios, different physical phenomena. There are many examples. For example, you can determine with algebraic functions how much a car is running after a certain time with a specific velocity, for example. You can determine with algebraic functions how much will be the temperature after a while in a road that you are heating up in one extreme. For example, you can use algebraic equations to represent an electrical circuit. So many different scenarios in which we can use algebraic functions. So starting with the topic, an algebraic function would be then an expression that is represented basically with an f. Normally it's represented with an f, and then we have variables for the algebraic expression. In this case, I will use just one variable that is called x. The variable is not other thing than something that we don't know, is an unknown normally, but sometimes it's also a value that we are giving to the function in order to determine the value of f. These functions can be different ways. For example, we can have just a number that we normally call them constant. This is kind of a simple function which is representing something that is not changing in the space or in the time. But also we can include an extra term every of these parts that I'm referring here and then explaining them by using a symbol of plus or minus. They are called terms. But in this case, I will use another term, 2 plus, I don't know, 3x, for example. This is a second term that I included here, and if you observe, we have a number that is multiplying a letter. This letter is normally called the variable, and if you observe clearly here, the x is the same x that I included here. If I had used here t, for example, I will include I will write here t as well. Okay, but this is a function of two terms, and then we have we can include this. We can increase the number of terms as much as we want. For example, I can say I don't know 6x squared, for example. Now we have a third term that is using also the same variable x in this case, but the power of this variable is different. Now we have a 2 here, if you observe. So we have an x with a power of 1 and an x with a power of 2. And we can keep doing this up to, I don't know, even up to the infinite if you like. But of course, there is a limit always. And here we can use another value. I will represent the constant that I'm using in the different terms with a, and then the x with a power of n, just to keep it general. So this is the type of expression that we will find in algebraic expressions. If I write this in a general way, if we consider that I'm talking about just one variable here, functions of one variable, then I will write that a function depending on x will be represented by a constant a0. I will call it a0. This constant a0 in the case of the example that I gave previously is the number 2 plus, and I will say an a1 x plus a2 x squared plus up to we reach a n x n. This is the very general way of expressing the algebraic function of one variable. As you observe here, we have different terms as I have called them. We have a term here that is called, normally it's called constant term. Constant term because doesn't have a variable, doesn't have x. Then we have other type of terms here. For example, this is a linear term. We have a quadratic term because we have a square. And so on and so forth. We have different type of terms that you can see here. So the function is an expression that contains terms, and each term, this is very important here. If I take just a term, for example, this term here, if I take the quadratic term, a2 x squared, if I take this, then each term is also divided in parts. We have the a2 in this case is called coefficient. The x is the name of the variable that I'm using, because you should be aware that in this case I have used x, but it could be t, it could be b, m, n. You can give the name that you want to the variable that you want. Normally we use x, y, and z, and t as well to represent time. But in this case I'm using x, and this is the variable. And the number at which you are powering this variable is called actually power, just like that. Okay? So, continue with this. I have written here 3 types of functions that I would like to introduce as well. We have different names for different functions, or we can classify them depending on the number of terms that we encounter in each of the functions. For example, here, if we have a function containing only one term, we used to call them monomials. If we have 2 terms, for example, here that we have 5x plus 3x squared, we call them binomials. And if we have 3 terms, trinomials. And there is another way to call them. If you have more than 2 terms, or at least 2 terms, we call them polynomials. So from here to any other number of terms, we call them polynomials. Okay, so this is basically the introduction to algebraic functions. The next video, if you watch the next video, I will show you guys different examples of how to reduce the different algebraic expressions. Thank you very much for watching the video. Remember to subscribe, like the video, and share it with your friends. Thank you very much. See you next time.